Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Nadim, and today I'm gonna be bringing you guys a review on the OG Luffy and Smoker. Technically, the first banner characters because they did come with a ticket that I did summon on very early on in my channel, and it's one of my most popular videos. I don't know why, but it is. So, yeah, I'm gonna be reviewing these two characters, and yeah, for now I am actually playing with these characters and learning how to play them, and I'm building up some smoker medals because he does have attack on them, and he has some cool tags. Grand Line is nice, Navy's nice, Logia, Navy Captain. Besides Navy Captain, I don't think many people have this. Yeah, no one basically. The other three can be used in many situations, so it is a very nice medal. When respawn boost speed by 4%, 20 seconds, is not a great thing, but in general, I'm playing with Smoker and I want to max this. Why not? Having more 9-star medals, and it can combo well with a lot of things. Unfortunately, though, for the OG Luffy, he doesn't get attacks, so I'm not going to work on these medals, and yeah. He obviously has better tags, but yeah, I want to work on attack medals for now. I have a lot of defense, I have a lot of HP, so yeah. Okay, let's get into these characters though. So let's check my team out. I will be doing gameplay on these characters within the next few days. Right now, my Luffy's max level and my Smoker's level 88. For my support on them, I have max attack. And for my medals, it is again 70% attack on Luffy and about 55 on Smoker. They have no boost panels for Smoker skills 4-4, but for Luffy 5-5 because he's max, so he's going to be useful also for supports. So yeah, let's check out Luffy first. Now, obviously, like I said, no character boost. And how we're going to do this review, we're going to talk about every different aspect of Luffy. So we're going to check out Luffy's attacks. Now, his attacks, I'm going to be rating every single one of these out of 5, and I will make a disclaimer that since this is my first time doing this, some of the ratings will be a bit too high, sometimes a bit too low. Like for instance, if I give Luffy's attacks 4 out of 5, by playing with other characters, I might see that his attack is actually a 3. So yeah, this is the first episode, so don't say in like episode 50, oh my god, I can't believe you gave Luffy a 3 and then you gave this guy a 4. Like how, or another guy 3. Like, guys, this is the first episode, so I still don't have like a benchmark or something to compare it to. So I will, so I hope you guys take that into account before you write your hate comments. So Luffy's attacks, they're very nice. They can cancel out skills pretty easily, especially his first hit. His first hit is very, very, very nice. But then after you get locked into a lot of animations, but once they dodge, your attacks do deal a lot of damage because you do have a lot of combos. So I don't think they're great, but I don't think they're bad. In fact, they're pretty decent. They're pretty decent. So I'll give them a 4, especially if you just hit once. You can do many cool things with this Luffy. So I think, yeah, 4 is fair enough. For his skill 1, I have it maxed, so this is at its best with 70% attack. I don't have the plus 300, but 70% attack at max level without a character boost is really as high as you can get. With my medals, I do get the cooldown down to 40, but it is still a 50-second cooldown skill. That one shot sometimes doesn't, others. It's not one shot. It depends on the enemy, obviously. But yeah, it's hard. But it does activate Tremor for 5 seconds, and Tremor is really, really good because once you get hit with Tremor, for those 5 seconds you can't move, even if you're getting hit during it. So it's really, really nice. Unless obviously you get staggered. So yeah, so use your normal attacks, and then when there's 4 seconds left, or sorry, 1 second left, you could use a skill to put him down. So that's nice. So this skill I think is really, really decent. The fact that its range is really, really small though hinders it a lot. You can time it, you can do cool things. So if they're capturing a flag, you can time it perfectly. So by the time their yellow leaves, you hit them. But in general, I think this skill is a bit lacking. If it's one shot, then the Tremor would be useless. But the fact that its range is so short also makes it so hard. And if the enemy is just moving around, yeah, it's really tough. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I think that's fair enough. It's above average, but it's not great. Okay, let's check out his second skill. So his skill 2, it's a mid-range charge attack. Now, At level 5, it's 22 seconds only, so that's really, really fast. And it doesn't one-shot, but it deals a good amount of damage. And against greens in team boost, you can one-shot if they have... so it can deal a lot of damage, especially with 20 seconds cooldown. It's just really hard to pull off because there's no nullify stagger on it. And the range isn't that far, and it goes in a straight line that doesn't have much AoE. It's literally Luffy's body only, so it's hard to hit it. But the fact that it's very spammable makes me think that, you know, I think it's still a decent skill. I want to give it 2.5, but I'm gonna stick to only full numbers. So I'm gonna give it a 3, just because of the fact that it's 20 seconds long. Other than that, the skill isn't great particularly, but you know, there are definitely much worse skills out there. So I'll give it a 3. His team boost is attack. Okay, we don't care about that. Let's check out his trait. His dodge. Oh yeah, let's talk about his dodge. So his dodge is really quick. As in, it's really hard to get a perfect dodge with this guy. Like, you really need to know what the enemies are doing and when they're gonna skill, because sometimes, you know, some people, like Smoker for instance, have like a bit of a long thing. So when you're dodging, it's much, you have like more error, you have more room for error. Here, not really. So I think this is an underwhelming dodge. I'll give it a 2. Saving the ones for some bad dodge, like Kaya's dodge, for example. That's a terrible dodge. Luffy's dodge isn't that bad. As for his trait 1, right? When in the air around your enemy's treasure, increase damage dealt by 30%. That's a very, very nice attacker skill, and I really, really like it. So that definitely is really good. His second thing, when your team has less treasure secured, boost cooldown reduction speed of dodge by 50%. So when you're losing, you get more dodges. Now, this definitely works out for Luffy because his dodges aren't that great. So if you're losing, you get them more often. Now, I don't like that. I don't like that. His dodges aren't so great that I think a trait is worth it. And the fact that his trait 1 is really, really good, right? It is really good. It is also very basic. And the fact that his second half is not good, I definitely can't see myself giving this more than a 3, because I just think, unfortunately, the second part of it, yes, it compensates for his weak dodges, but just because you can do more weak dodges doesn't mean a lot. Plus, you have to be losing. If it's always 50% extra, then it would be a bit of a different story. But if you're losing, you get more dodges. It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing. I still think it's an above average trait, but that's it, above average. His trait 2, when your strength is less than 30%, boost the cooldown reduction speed of skill 1 by 50%. That's nice because your skill 1 is 50 seconds. So once you're under 30%, you do get it more often. And I really, really like that. But how good is that? I don't know. How often are you going to be for under 30%? And then will you be able to survive for that long? Probably not. And oftentimes this Luffy is not tanky, so he will die. And very rarely are you within 0 to 30% range, at least from my experience. So yeah, but it is definitely a cool thing to be there, especially because skill 1 is a long time. It takes a long time to come. And when you KO an opponent, reduce the cooldown of skill 2 by 30%. Now, the cool thing about skill 2 is that oftentimes you could use the skill 2 to kill someone. So you will have it even faster to kill the next guy. So I like that a lot. But again, I'll give this straight a 3 because the first part of it, unfortunately, again, it only compensates for a weakness he has that I think maybe he shouldn't have had. You know, it's like with his dodge, you know, he has bad dodges, but you can dodge more often. Okay, well, why don't you make him have better dodges? Or, you know, here, you know, his cooldown reduction is so long, why don't you just reduce that? You know, you didn't need these traits. I don't think they compensate for his weaknesses, but in general, they're not that good. So, what out of 30, I'm giving him 4 plus 3, that's 7, 10, 12, 15, 18. So I'm giving him 18 out of 30. So out of 10, that would be divided by 3. I think that's 6 out of 10. So yeah, so we're giving him 6 out of 10. Definitely not too bad, right? Not too bad. Okay, let's go now to Smoker. Now Smoker, unfortunately, he isn't 6-star. Mine isn't 6-star. So again, you know, my Luffy's experience is obviously going to be much smoother because he is max level. And his skills are at 4-4. I can't justify leveling them up more. You know, it's not like I have an abundant amount of these black circles. So yeah, Also no character boost because yeah. Okay, so for his normal attacks, I think Smoker's normal attacks are fantastic. His first hit isn't too great, but the combo itself could do a lot. You know, a lot of people won't expect such a long combo. Not many people play Smoker, so not many people know when to dodge Smoker's things. And I think that, yeah, it's gonna stay the same, right? Not many people are gonna learn to counter Smoker. And honestly, the string is long. Some of the attacks in it are nice. Sometimes the animation is a bit long, but I haven't had a lot of times where I regretted pressing the tab again. So I think the skill is pretty nice. His skill 1, a mid-range area attack with a knockback effect, so that's really good. Knockback effect on defenders are really nice. Nullify stagger for a set period of time, so that's really nice because if they're attacking you, you can still land this hit while they're attacking, as long as it's not the last hit or a skill, so that's really good. Unfortunately, I don't have it like damage. I lose out on a lot of damage from it being level 4 instead of level 5, and 5 seconds extra it's already a low cooldown. The fact that it could go lower makes it really nice, and I think the skill is fantastic. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It's really good, but its range is lacking. Its range is definitely lacking. This one has an opposite effect. As in, the range is actually pretty decent, not too good, but it's pretty decent. It goes in a straight line ahead of you. It's pretty nice. It doesn't cover a wide area, and it's really in front of you, but it's still pretty decent, and it can stun 100% of the time for 5 seconds, but I have it on a 55-second cooldown. I do a lot less damage than if I had it at level 5, and 44 seconds is much better than 55. So this skill actually does do good things. It actually does do good things. If you land it, it's hard to land, but if you do land it, it's really nice. I'll give it a 3 just because of how hard and how easy it is cancelled out, and because the animation time is a long time. He's like making smoke and shit. So other than that, I think the skill is really decent, and can actually surprise the enemies a lot, especially once they're stunned. The problem is, a lot of times your teammates actually can screw you over by hitting your stunned enemies and leaving you in a bad situation. So yeah, that's that. His dodge, I think his dodge is actually pretty good. His dodge is really nice. It's long, nothing wrong with it. 4. It's a long dodge. He turns into smoke, and it's really good. Now, dodge is something where a lot of players will get a good score at, so it's kind of unfair to give dodge such a thing. But at the end of the day, dodge is such an important resource. I can't justify not giving it a part in the tree, right? Okay, so let's take out his traits. So he has an extra character trait. Luffy had Nullify, Entrance, and Shock, which is very nice. He has, when receiving damage from an enemy, 15% chance to reduce damage received by 30%. 15% chance for every hit to reduce it by 30, that's actually pretty good. That helps a lot with his survivability. Now, we don't take these extra traits into account, but it could boost a trait. So, for example, Luffy might have had one of the traits with a 2, but because he had some extra traits, I gave it a 3, things like that. So it could help boost other traits. I don't have a whole section for this because these aren't generally that important, but they're extra things, they're bonus, they're nice. I like them. Okay, when in the area around you capture treasure, reduce damage received by 30. That's very nice for defenders. I really like this trait, very nice. When respawn, boost speed by 10% for 20 seconds. Now, 20 seconds is really good. 20 seconds is a long time, and it helps you get into the fight much faster. But I don't like it as a trait. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. It does help, but I don't like it. So I will definitely take that and give it the same thing with Luffy, a 3. I don't think it does anything special, and that respawn honestly could have done much more. Now, the fact that his trait 1 was the reduced damage received by 30, that's really nice. If it was reduced damage received by 20, because he's an old character, maybe they would have done that. Then I would have had, unfortunately, to give this a 2, because the second part, I don't like it. It helps, and it can be good, but I think there are much more important things out there. His trait 2, when your team loses the treasure, reduce cooldown of skill 1 by 15%. Now, skill 1 comes out much faster, and the fact that, it's already a fast skill, you get it faster, it's always cool. But is it that important to have that? Every time you lose a flag, you get your skill a bit faster? It could be, and, honestly, it's not that bad of a thing. And when in the area around you capture treasure, increase damage dealt by 20%. So now Smoker has this thing. Now, it's obvious that this guy, once you have the point, he's insane at defending it. He has a knockback, he deals more damage, he receives less damage, he has an extra trait to help him. If you lose a treasure somewhere else, you get your skill 1 much faster. So once you're in the point, you're really, really good. Once you're not on your point though, you're really, really not good. So again, this trait is really, really, really cool. The second part of it, the first part is not too bad either, so I'll give it a 3. I'm debating giving this a 4, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 for now. Keep it there, I think it's fair enough. So 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 4, 12, plus 3, 15, plus 3, 18, plus 3, 21. So that's 21 out of 30. So that's a 7 out of 10. So I do agree. I think Smoker is indeed much better than Luffy. Let's move these one. Okay. So I do think indeed Smoker is better than Luffy. But in tier lists, he might be lower simply by the fact that a lot of people consider the fact that you don't really want to use Smoker as a defender, while as Luffy as an attacker could be used. Honestly, I think Smoker is better, and now that I've played with him, I can see that much clearer now. I can actually realize how good the Smoker is, because in my tier lists, I just put Smoker at low ratings because there were much better alternatives. But now I see his potential, and I learned more about him while I played with him, and I definitely like his kit. Now, guys, you might say, wow, 7 out of 10 for such a bad character. That's actually pretty generous. Now, you will see a lot of 10s or 9s with good characters, right? Because they will have great skill 1s, great skill 2s. And again, the problem with ratings is that this is their rating, taking these into account, but that's it. That's all it takes into account, these things, right? Sometimes there are things beyond this that matter. Like, for example, sometimes a character like Timeskip Nami, for example, or Bikini Nami has such great traits, but potentially a bad skill 1, and that could reduce her rating by a lot. But in general, that doesn't make her a bad character. For